Good evening and welcome to another episode of Behind the Zemer. I'm Rabbi Yitzi Marmorstein. This is a wonderful, wonderful project, and thanks to all the organizers, all the people here at the Young Israel of Hollywood who put in so much hard work to bring us to a deeper connection with the Zmirot that we sing on Shabbos. The Zemer I would like to speak about is Yedidos. Many of your Zmirot books, you'll find it as the third Zemer. And the Zemer was composed in the 1700s by a rabbi by the name of Menachem. His name, Mem Nun Ches Mem, can be found as the first letter of some of the stanzas. And it's really this description of the different aspects of enjoyment that we should find and bring ourselves to on Shabbos. The first stanza mentions a very basic way of ensuring that our Shabbos gets off to the right start. Shabbos Queen, may we run to greet you. The Aleph Beis of Shabbos is wishing somebody a Shabbat Shalom, is starting off with a greeting, have a good Shabbos. I remember hearing many years ago from the owner of Camp Monroe in upstate New York, how he was looking for a way to incorporate something to bring up the level of Shabbos in the camp to create an awareness. And he started just by walking around Friday afternoon before the onset of Shabbat, wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom, a good Shabbos. The first thing we do to create that welcomeness of Shabbos is B'chein Noretz L'Krasech. We run to greet the Shabbos. The chorus of the Zemer Yedidos is Lehisanig B'sanugim Barburim Uslav V'dagim, to delight in the delicacies of Shabbos, barburim, goose, slav, quail, v'dagim, and fish. I kind of get this feeling that the composer of the Zemer particularly chose slav. Both it's described in Chazal as a Shabbos delicacy, but also because slav was one of the items that we wanted after we left Egypt, and we complained about the food. Hashem gave us slav, and the Torah holds us accountable for not being happy with what God had provided. So when we partake in such a delicacy like that on Shabbos, we do kind of a tikkun, we correct that which was we were called out for in the Torah, our approach to the enjoyment of food. So Shabbos has that special ability to correct whatever needed tikkun from during the week. The second stanza mentions V'safnuke ma'adanmim b'chol shalosh pa'amim, the importance of having special delicacies by the third meal as well, by Sudat Shlishit. I was fortunate to spend many enjoyable moments in the social hall at the Young Israel, especially by Shal Shudas, by the third meal, both with fantastic speeches, as well as just the feeling of camaraderie and being together with people in the shul in a lighter, more relaxed atmosphere, yet still adorned with Divrei Torah and singing. There's actually a matter of halachic discussion whether the obligation to have the third meal is a rabbinical or biblical obligation. And for the most part, many halachic authorities rule that there is no daraisa, there's no biblical obligation. Yet the Mishnah Berurah brings down the special reward for somebody who is careful to partake in all three meals is that they are protected from the Chevlei Mashiach, the Dinu Shel Gehenim, the tragedies which is described in Tanakh as taking place right before the era of the Messiah, of Mashiach. So we know that the Torah gives a special importance to making sure that we have 3 full meals over a Shabbos. In the next stanza, the third stanza, we find the composer describes the honor of Shabbos, v'chabdu ashir v'rash v'sizku l'geula. Both the wealthy person as well as the destitute shall celebrate Shabbos and merit salvation. The Dubna Maggid points out, every person's experience with enjoying Shabbos, what brings joy to them, will be different. No more so pronounced than the difference between the challenges of Shabbos for the usher, for the wealthy person, and for the person who has nothing. For the person who has nothing, forgetting about his business, he doesn't have much of a business, unfortunately, to forget about, that's not his challenge. But resources to buy things that he may enjoy that on Shabbos, that will be more of a challenge. Whereas it's quite the opposite. The usher, the wealthy person, can buy whatever he wants to enhance his Shabbos table. But to think about the fact that his business is closed on Shabbos, that's not so easy. Says the Dubna Maggid, the Zemer incorporates the uniqueness of Shabbos to each individual for what's challenging for them as something that we should all have in mind, that what we need to do for honoring Shabbos is not necessarily the same as someone else. In the fourth stanza, the last line describes a beautiful sight. Shabbos is this time when you'll be standing on all the street corners describing the thoughts on the Parsha, talking about the Divrei Torah on all street corners of the neighborhood. We really experienced that not too long ago when all of our shuls were closed, and the last semblance of community life was really being able to share a Dvar Torah with your neighbor across the street, socially distanced, but at least our ability to see each other and to fill the street corners with thoughts on the Parsha, on Divrei Torah from a distance, but at least that was not taken away from us. Truly, we understood, we experienced that firsthand what the author, the composer of this Zemer, to speak beautiful words of Torah, thoughts on the Parsha, on street corners. It's something that we are blessed in Hollywood. We can experience that every Shabbos. In the fifth stanza, we mention our favorite Shabbos pleasure. Your gait, your walk shall be in a more relaxed manner. And the sleep shall be praiseworthy. Kedas nefesh meshivas, like the soul needs restoration. So we see this Shabbos rest is not just a physical need, but it's a spiritual need as well. The Gemara tells us in brachas of the conflict that the tefillas of different people bring to Hashem. The farmer prays, let it rain, so that we can have bountiful crops. The traveling salesman, the peddler, says, Hashem, God, if it's going to pour, the road will become muddy, I will become full of mud, nobody's going to want to open the door for me, and I'll have a hard time making a sale. So Hashem says, I can find a satisfactory solution for both of you. Friday night, Shabbos, when everybody's in their home, that's when I will bring the rain, and this way the farmer will get his rain, and the traveling salesperson will be able to not have their chances of making a sale diminished by the difficult travels. So that Shabbos sleep, that Shabbos Shena, is certainly something which is not just a physical necessity, but it also does something for our neshama as well. It's a spiritual replenishment as well. They say in the name of the Vilna Gaon, Shabbos, the Rosh Tevis, Shin Beis Taf, is Shena b'Shabbos Tanug. The sleep of Shabbos is true enjoyment. It's not just enjoyment for the body, but for the soul as well. In the last stanza, the final stanza, we describe Me'ein Olam Haba Yom Shabbos Menucha. The composer writes how the day of Shabbos has to be almost an otherworldly experience. It's a day of Olam Haba, from the world to come. Whoever will partake in that enjoyment will merit tremendous happiness. I think what the composer of this Zemer is really trying to say throughout this Zmirot, and especially evidenced in the last paragraph, is in order to really enjoy Shabbos, a person has to say to themselves, I have physical needs, there's things that I need to enjoy in life for it to really be called a source of happiness, and I also have spiritual needs. And a day like Shabbos, in order for it to be truly enjoyable, it must have both a spiritual component, a day when I feel that I can reach a higher, loftier spiritual level, as well as the aforementioned physical pleasures and enjoyment that we allow ourselves to partake in on Shabbos. This is the message, I believe, of the composer of the Zmirot of Yedidos. Embrace the day because it's really the day that a person has to admit that we both have spiritual desires and physical desires if we want to reach Yizku L'Rov Simcha, to really merit and true joy, abundance of joy. As a last note on the Zmirot, I saw in a Mishpacha magazine article, Avram Fried, one of the great Jewish contemporary artists, music artists, was asked of all his songs, which one is his favorite, and he said, My Yedidos, that he, of course, composed his own tune to it, if you would have to ask him what's his favorite, he would always say My Yedidos was his favorite zemer to compose a tune to and to perform. Have a wonderful, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom.